All right. So anyway, hey, Shane here, dailyastrocat.com. And time for astrology, right? So we've got Monday. Yes, you can't trust that day. The 8th of December. So what do we got going on here? Well, the moon's going to be in Leo all day long, and the moon opposes Scorpio to Pluto today, right? Pluto happens to be in Aquarius. You know, it's Pluto, the co-ruler of Scorpio. Easy to get that confused, right? So the moon's going to oppose Pluto today. Meh. But changes, they're going to need to wait until noontime, okay? Just because that's just an opposition, right? It's not really time to change anything, although people are going to be like, oh, it's Monday, we got to go. Okay, this happens at 1:16 in the morning, right? And, you know, everyone thinks that Monday it's like, oh, yeah, we got to show that we're doing our job, right? They're going to puff out their chest and everyone's going to be like, yeah. The peacock struts. However, the lion stalks. Think about that. Saturn is still really making things difficult. I told you yesterday that we're going to need to educate ourselves. Unfortunately, the only teachers I've ever listened to are experienced, right? Hard knocks. That's what it really is. That's basically that's my learning pattern. You think it would be better, right? No, I'd have to learn by banging my head up against it and experiencing it, right? Mars square Saturn at 7:16 p.m. confirms this, okay, my hard-headedness, and it's asking me to provide answers to vexing work issues. It's going to ask the same thing of you because, honestly, Saturn is in the way. Saturn is is playing whatever Saturn is doing, right? Saturn's direct, so it's very, very direct. So it's like, what are we doing? Okay, so that's what you're going to have to do. Now, the key word is a clue, because the key word is fluid, all right? So we don't want to get stuck in the Leo energy, that fixed Leo energy, because the sun is immutable Sagittarius. That's fluid, that's moving. That's where we can kind of find our way. The way water will work between little cracks and just penetrate, right? Yeah, that's what that's going to be. Our color is red and gold together. It always looks good, right? Now, there's a funny electricity in the air today. The Sagittarius season, this Sagittarius season early on felt a lot like the Libra season before it a couple months ago, right? Because it had a heavy focus in Scorpio, right? You had Mars and Scorpio just throwing things, right? Gang signs with the Black Moon Lilith and we had a couple of asteroids in there and stuff like that were really just like making us think of the divine female, right? We had that divine female energy. We had Hera. We had I forget what the other one was in there. There was one other one that was in there. But we had all that stuff. That was a couple months ago, right? But now we had Sagittarius season starting out, but we had Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, in Scorpio. We have Venus that was in Scorpio. So we had still had heavy Scorpio influences in the Sagittarius season early on. Now, Mars is kind of running through it and is at the threshold of getting ready to enter Capricorn. And this is going to be very interesting. So Saturn stands in our path, and it stands in Mars' path because it's a square, right? So Saturn stands in our path, our actions, right? What we're trying to do. Knowledge is going to be hard-won, okay? And our projects are going to have multiple issues. And that's because Saturn. Okay? Now, that knowledge that you're going to get, yeah, we'd love to just, chalk it up and get those easy victories. Strut your stuff, be the peacock, right? It's easy, right? No, it's not easy. That's not what we're doing. Lay down low in the grass, right? Back to the lion. Now, look, we just want to make sure that, if we spring too early, if that lion springs too early, it comes up empty. The hunt is for naught, okay? So we have to make sure that we are biding our time and waiting. The Leo moon wants recognition. The sun in Sagittarius, more fluid, more circumspect, and can feel what Mars is fighting for, okay? Because the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. So What else do we got? Well, now, the sun is Sagittarius. Yes, that's what we have. So look no further than the Sagittarius in Cancer, the ruler of Sagittarius in Cancer. The security we desire is within reach, and there are no free lunches. Our actions will need to be precise and deliberate, and we have work to do. So it's too easy to get caught up in one lunar aspect and feel like the day is going to be that way, right? No. Moon opposite Pluto. Oh, nothing new. We're just going to hang out here. Most people are going to be taking that moon in Leo and being like, hey, look at me. Look at what I've done. At 2:56, the moon in Leo is trine Venus. What happens to the strutting peacocks? Did their display attract a suitor? You would think so with the moon trine Venus, but romance isn't the only quality of Venus. Venus is a strong female archetype, and she operates by leveraging the power of attraction. There's a complete package, right? It's presented today that is slick, both sleek and powerful, right? That's that lion in the tall grass. Are you the peacock or are you the lion? Ultimately, that choice is yours. Now, I can't say enough about this current struggle between Mars and Saturn. That is what is meant by character building back in the day. It's good for you. Build your character, right? Your responses and reactions to day-to-day challenges should give you more hope and optimism as you work your way through them. Okay? It would be really too easy to say, oh, it's too hard, and just retreat into a shell. That's the downside of what, of Jupiter in Cancer, right? Because the crab has the shell, can hunker down, right? Stuff bounces off the shell. However, you want to move forward. Crabs never move forward. They move sideways, fluid, right? Although it's a cardinal sign. However, we're utilizing that energy in a fluid manner like a mutable sign. So we're kind of like going through it, going with it, trying to get Mars across the finish line and into where Mars is going to be exalted in Capricorn. So think about it this way. Mercury is still trine with Jupiter and engaged in the kite. Use logic and common sense, something you rarely hear me say, to combat an intuitive urge to withdraw. In the end, you are far too proud to allow that withdrawal to happen. Interesting, right? So in 1609, the Biblioteca Ambrosiana in Milan opens its reading room, and it's the second public library in Europe. And our birth is John Sibelius. He's born in 1865. He died in 1957. Finnish composer. He did the Valse Triste and Finlandia. He was born in Tavastehus in Finland, and that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Do me a favor. Do all the nice things, right? Hit the bell. Do the notifications. Do all that stuff, right? Subscribe, whatever you have to do. Appreciate and love you. Today's a 5. Happy astrocatting.